Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from What Culture.
And I'm not.
And coming up, he's an absolute...
No time for rhymes today. We've got 7 stories.
Whoa!
We need to batter through them, brother.
Okay, this is the news.
So coming up, first of all, we have a note, or a few notes, on the backstage response within WWE to that Jon Moxley shoot interview on Talk is Jericho. Now this comes to us via the great men over at Fightful, who have spoken to several sources within the company, that being a number of wrestlers and a number of other employees as well. And they're all essentially saying the same thing, that the words that Jon Moxley spat on that podcast echo their own sentiments. So one claimed that it was so severe that it broke their heart, as it perfectly encapsulates what they think about their own situation in the company, but they are ultimately glad that the word is out there and it's being reported on. Another approached Fightful directly rather than Fightful approaching them, stating that if things don't improve, they'll be leaving when their contract comes up, adding that they've already mentally checked out of the promotion. They don't blame the writers, they blame Vince. They go on to describe the infrastructure that Vince has created that makes them hard to contact and hard to deal with. Now, stemming from these reports, there's a lot of speculation going around the internet as to who these wrestlers might be. Obviously, Fightful haven't mentioned them themselves because that would be wrong. They're pro-journalists and all this stuff. But one of the names that has come out in comments and around social media and stuff is Rusev, which shouldn't be a huge surprise given that rumours of this guy leaving WWE seem to come up every other month, and he's barely on TV these days. Either way, it's quite interesting to know that the Moxley stuff has had quite an effect on the backstage area. It's
fascinating to find out the fact that the wrestling fans that I've spoken to, they react to this podcast differently to say the CM Punk Colt Cabana one, because that was more of a shoot and accusations, let's say, against WWE, whereas this, just as fans have said to me, confirms everything we ever suspected about WWE, and I suppose it sounds like wrestlers are just happy that that's out there.
Yeah, absolutely. It was, nothing particularly revelatory from people who follow the business and have read various reports over the years, but it brought a number of big things to life and it effectively confirmed everyone's fears about, the creative process. So
I hope Rusev either gets a push or leaves, because I think he's phenomenal.
Absolutely.
Right, moving on. I've got a little surprise for myself now. I've treated myself here now. I avoided watching the end of Monday Night Raw, Andy Murray. Come on, break it to me. Which title did Brock Lesnar cash in on? Did he cash in on Kofi Kingston, the WWE Championship?
Do you really want to know?
Yeah, did he cash in on Kofi?
He didn't, no.
Oh my God, new Universal Champion Brock Lesnar cashed in on Seth Rollins, or did he fail in his cash in?
You can't fail a cash in that didn't happen. Yeah, it didn't cash in, so that's good. That's good.
Psych! Nice watching 3 hours of Raw.
Good old WWE bait and switch there, eh? Brock Lesnar will cash in tonight. No, he won't.
Yeah, on Friday, definitely. Promise, 100%, aside from maybe if he doesn't. Okay, there was a title change on Monday Night Raw we do need to tell you about, and that was the US title. As anticipated, Rey Mysterio relinquished the championship, and he relinquished it directly to Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe is your new United States champion, and just for a bit of icing and then a cherry on the cake, he decided to choke out Rey Mysterio whilst he was out there as well. He said basically he heard Rey say the word champion and he thought that was his cue. He's brilliant. His hair's fantastic. I love him so much. And then, Rey laid the belt down, and as Rey went to leave, into the coquina clutch.
Yeah.
He went night-night.
Yeah, die little man. Yeah, good stuff. Really good little segment here because, Rey came off really sympathetic, going through the injury and everything, and Joe looked like a massive bully bell end. Perfect.
Love it.
Speaking of bullies, we're going to talk about Bully Ray. His name is literally Bully. I'm not saying that he is a bully.
Please don't hurt us.
Even though, he's a very big, scary man. I don't want to... Sorry, man. There was a fan incident at a Ring of Honor show, State of the Art, in Portland, Oregon this Sunday. And unfortunately, there was a rather unsavory incident involving Mr. Bully Ray at this show. So, Post Wrestling have the scoop on this. Basically, there was a confrontation. What happened was there was this fan, his name is Josh Ketch, his full account is with the Post Wrestling write-up, who claims that he was basically booing Velvet Sky and Mandy Leon, who are part of a stable called The Allure. Now, Leon responded to this by spitting at him, apparently, and face-palming him. Sky responded to this by saying, come to the ring, we'll fight or whatever, just heel stuff, right? The fan responded by reminding Sky that she sleeps with Bully Ray, they are partners. Pretty dumb thing to say, but it's a wrestling show, dumb stuff happens. Well, Bully responded to this. Security put a hand on the guy's shoulder. Apparently, this is all alleged. It's the guy's outline of it, so don't take it for gospel. But security apparently put a hand on his shoulder, told him to come backstage. Bully Ray accosted him. He used what Mr. Ketch describes as legit intimidation tactics, basically mouthed off at him, and then said, "You got it, is everything broadcasting?" And he was like kind of intimidated because Bully Ray's a scary guy and he's probably really hard. After which he was taken back to his seats and kind of shaken up for the rest of the show. So obviously this has sparked a bit of controversy. It's not a very nice thing to happen from either perspective.
No.
And Post Wrestling have a quote from Ring of Honor General Manager Greg Gilliland, who says, "ROH has always taken a fan-first approach, with fan experience being at the forefront of all our live events. We consider this to be very serious and will be conducting an internal review over the next 48 hours to determine the appropriate action." So, very unsavory, very nasty. Yeah, not really the done thing.
No, you never want, whether it be the fans' fault or the wrestler's fault or, whoever's fault or a mixture of the two, you just don't want these things happening because it just tarnishes the reputation of the industry and tarnishes fans' opinion of organisations and just the sport in general. It's just a real disappointment there.
Yeah, and we can sit here and, debate whether or not what the fan said was okay. Personally, I would say probably not. But it's a wrestling show and he was talking to heels, so let's just see how it pans out.
Hopefully we can all resolve it, shake hands and move on. Right, speaking of moving on, a lot of NXT wrestlers will be moving on from their current names to some brand new names. Smooth. So 5 wrestlers in NXT, 5 contracted talents even, have had their new official ring names announced. I'll run you through them now. Adrian Jaludi, I'm still not sure how to pronounce it, thank goodness we don't have to call him that anymore,
Wow.
is now Arturo Ruas or Ruas, depending on your pronunciation. Former Impact star Trevor Lee, one of my favourite wrestlers, has now been rechristened Cameron Grimes.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah. Jesse Elaban will now be known as Jesse Camilla going forward.
That's quite good.
Luke Menzies, one British wrestling star. We've had him for Defiant Wrestling in
Former
the past.
rugby player as well.
Former rugby player. Love this name. Is now Ridge Holland. And your favourite, my favourite, his favourite, everyone's favourite wrestler in NXT, Eric Bugenhagen, has a new name, but don't worry, it's even better. He's now Rick Bugs.
I like that. I like that.
Look, we like Bugenhagen.
Yeah.
But to be fair, we all shortened it to Bugs, didn't we?
Yes.
So now his name is just Rick Bugs. Put him in the title picture. And I don't mean the North American title picture. I mean the NXT title picture.
I mean the Universal title picture, brother. He's awesome. He's awesome. He's stacked. He's charismatic. He's energetic. Yeah, I think the interesting thing about this was, I believe he used to compete as Rick Bugs early on in his NXT career, so they obviously had him compete under his real name on TV and then switched it back. I think it's a good name. It's catchier, it's shorter. Not sure about the other ones. Ridge Holland.
I like Ridge Holland. Ridge Holland.
He sounds like a detective.
We'll say one, Jesse Elaban to Jesse Camilla is too good, too bad. Maybe.
Yeah.
Three good ones.
I think I'm warming on Cameron Grimes actually as we do this video. Trevor Lee's a pretty grimy dude.
Trevor Lee. I like Cameron Grimes.
Trevor Lee's a good name though. Either way, we're going to move on. Shall we move on? Double or Nothing the other week. Big pay-per-view, big success, everything, yada, 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 positive adjectives. There was obviously a number of surprises on that show, the main one being Jon Moxley, but we almost got another pretty considerable one in the Casino Battle Royal, because according to PW Insider, Impact Wrestling champion Brian Cage was actually backstage at the event. He was ready to appear, he was ready to participate in the Casino Battle Royal, until Impact heard he was there, phoned him up and said, "No, you cannot do this as stipulated by the terms in your contract." Now, an interesting aside to this is that another Impact personnel, Tommy Dreamer, was in the match. However, he is not under contract, even though he's a member of the creative team. So Cage missing out on a potential spotlight there, although, he's probably doing all right for himself in Impact Wrestling, where he is, of course, the world champion, having bested Johnny Impact at the Rebellion pay-per-view a couple of months ago.
Yeah, I can kind of understand where Impact Wrestling are coming from with this one. Like, it might make your brand seem a little bit lesser if your big champion is kind of just chucked into the Casino Battle Royal.
And eliminated by, Luchasaurus.
Exactly. He was never going to win it. But he is a phenomenal physical specimen who we saw him hanging about at StarCast and wondered whether or not he was going to be getting involved in AEW. But it turns out, yes, the hammer came down on him, and that was that. Moving on now, though, to one of the perhaps funniest stories we've heard in the last few days. It centres around WWE and their forthcoming UK show on August 31st. If you're a wrestling fan, that date should be circled, highlighted, all the arrows in your diary, because there's 3 huge wrestling shows taking place that day. There is All Out for AEW, there's of course Royal Quest, New Japan show in the Copper Box in London, and now NXT UK taking place in Cardiff. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why would you run a show at the same time? Maybe not as All Out, because that's a different time zone. That's over in Chicago. Maybe you can argue, look, it's UK, it's the US audiences. There's a scope for difference in there. But why would you run the same show as New Japan when they come to the UK for the first time in, what, ever? Ages?
Yeah. They had a collaborative show with Rev Pro last summer, but it was very much a collaborative show. This is New Japan.
Yes. So why did they do it? Well, according to Super J-Cast, who've come up with this fantastic report, apparently WWE had sort of a spy in the ticket agency for the one that was shilling the New Japan tickets, and they thought that New Japan's Royal Quest had only sold 2,000 tickets for London's Copper Box Arena, which obviously holds a lot more, and they thought, hang on, there's a chance here to make New Japan look really stupid and be really petty. Guess what? WWE decided to be really petty, so they put this show on at the same time thinking, ha ha ha, we're going to beat them with NXT UK and make them look ridiculous. Going to outsell tickets, everyone's going to go to Cardiff for a show, neglecting the fact that there's a massive rugby match going on in Cardiff that day, so hotel prices, everything around that will go up. Well, guess what? New Japan hadn't sold 2,000 tickets, they just sold 2,000 tickets through that specific ticket agency. They'd also sold up 5,000 plus tickets. So yeah, real misjudgment there. A
Good
real
one.
small, the UK wrestling audience is, we know a fair bit about it. It's not massive.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna, people in Cardiff, it's not too tough to make the decision right. New Japan's Royal Quest tickets have been on sale for a while. Let's make that journey over to London for that show and go and see it. And then, we have really dropped a bollock here.
There's nothing sweeter than when WWE really do stuff like this, is it? Bunch of silly sausages. Anyway, we're going to have to pivot on to some sad news to close our main reports today. Unfortunately, All Japan Pro Wrestling star Atsushi Aoki has passed away at just 41 years old. This was following a motorcycle accident in Tokyo just yesterday. So the news was originally reported by Kyodo News and translated by Chris Charlton. The cause of death is currently unknown, but he had the accident. He was wearing a helmet, but he hit the side of the expressway he was traveling on, and he passed away in the hospital. So really sad stuff. Just a brief rundown of his career. The guy started in Pro Wrestling Noah under the tutelage of the legendary Jun Akiyama in 2005. He was a 2-time GHC Junior Heavyweight Champion there. He then moved on to AJPW in 2013 as part of kind of like a mini talent move, jump, leap thing alongside Akiyama and a couple of other wrestlers. There, he was even more successful. He was a 3-time All-Asia Tag Team Champion and a 3-time Junior Heavyweight Singles Champion. He actually was the Junior Heavyweight Champion at the time of his passing, and then just 41 years old. It's really tragic. He was a really underrated wrestler, had a fun run in this year's Champion Carnival. Real shame, and we here at WhatCulture.com would like to extend our deepest condolences to his friends and family.
Right, let's move on to your Twitter questions. Don't forget you can send them to us at WhatCultureWWE. First question comes from J08 Prism on Twitter, who says, insane theory for Super Showdown. What if Brock injured Seth to take over his place, win the Universal Championship, and then cash in the contract on Kofi Kingston as well?
Oh my goodness, can you imagine the absolute bonfire that the comment section, that Reddit, that Twitter would be after that? I almost want to see it just to watch the world burn. I think it'd be funny.
I think he's probably going to soldier on through this match against Baron Corbin, maybe get through it, and that dreaded music's probably going to hit.
That's a terrible
Regardless, we get
impression.
pyro on Friday.
Really awful.
Let's move on to the second question of today from Alex Brown, who says, do you think Drew could turn on Shane and brutalize that Pillock? Also, who could never turn face and who could never turn heel?
Yes, I do think he could turn on him. I think it would probably
Say the word. Say
which word?
Brutalize.
Brutalize! I think he could do it, and I think it would get a pop because loads of people hate Shane McMahon. I think it would work out quite well. Who should never turn heel and who should never turn face?
Could.
Oh, who
You
could?
couldn't. You physically couldn't.
Oh wow. Well, I think anyone can in WWE. I think like things like The Miz going babyface and Daniel Bryan going heel have proven that. Both have been very successful. Who could never turn heel? Eric Buggs, Rick Buggs, the man, the myth,
Cena.
the legend.
You can't do it. No.
John Cena, yeah. Roman Reigns, it's not going to happen. So put that down as a can't. Who could never turn
face is a really
turn
tough one.
face? Who's a really good? Maybe Lesnar at this point. Like I think a lot of people are kind of burned out on him. Corbin, yes, Baron Corbin,
Your
perfect.
boy.
My boy,
Impossible.
he's a babyface to me, though, baby.
Soon to be Universal Champion.
Soon
What,
to be recognised.
3 days?
Yeah.
3 days until he becomes Universal
Saudi Arabia's favourite son.
What happens? What?
Respect on that man's name.
There he is,
what-
Birdman.
I'm putting my own question in next. What happens if Baron Corbin wins the title? What do you do?
You won't see me for a month.
Okay.
That'll have some of the comment section, please, at least.
Final question comes from King Charlemagne, who says, if you could ask Vince 3 questions, what would they be?
King Charlemagne, obviously, son of Charlemagne the God. If I could ask Vince McMahon 3 questions, what would they be? Probably something stupid, because, like, I feel like the guy's kind of lost his mind a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'd ask him his favourite dinosaur, for one.
Good.
Probably, like...
Bloody Stegosaurus!
Stegosaurus.
Got out of all those spikes!
Thick bodies. What is the name of the worm? I don't know. What is the name of the worm at the bottom of his garden? Wiggly Woo. In all seriousness, I would ask him.
I know what to ask him.
Go for
When
it.
you sleep, what do you dream about? Because he sleeps, what, 3 hours a day?
2, I believe.
Bloody
Yeah.
hell. And I want to know what he dreams about. And also, maybe as a final question, which would probably give us a real handle on things, Vince, what year do you think it is?
What is your son's name?
This is going to be fun. Let us know your questions you'd ask Vince in the comments section below. We'll
Ooh.
move on to today's and finally. Andy Murray, did you watch the Firefly Funhouse this week?
Yes, I did.
It's the only good thing on Monday Night Raw, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
I love it. Check out at It's Adam Nicholas on Twitter for a fantastic video later on today of, let's just say, a reworking of the Firefly Funhouse. But in the meantime, I have some fantastic news for me and you, and probably more likely Simon Miller, because he can probably pull this top off a lot better than we can. There is a new Wyatt Gym
Oh my
top
goodness.
already for sale at WWEshop.com. You'll see him and I
Wow.
showing off our incredibly pale
Yeah,
arms
look at this bicep, man. It's flexing.
over the next few days. But yeah, you'll probably more than likely actually see Simon Miller wearing it because he can pull that sort of thing off.
it works out. We're just a couple of side cocks.
I could look like him. I just
Choose not to.
can't be asked.
Yeah.
Right, let us know your thoughts on that and all of today's news stories in the comment section below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And you can follow us on Twitter at WhatCultureWWE and send us Twitter questions. Whilst you're there, follow both of us. You can follow him at.
Andy H. Murray. The H stands for Hank.
You can follow me at Adam Wilborn, and you can follow our lovely editor at It's Adam Nicholas on Twitter, who's going to be releasing that brilliant Bray Wyatt video a little bit later on today. My thanks to Andy Murray. Thank you for watching, and we will see you soon.
See you later.